Hello and welcome to the Property Show on MBTV. Today we have with us Mr. Abhishek Kapoor, CEO of Puravankara Ltd. He is here with us to talk to us about how the plotted development markets have performed in the last 18 months in southern India.
I'll give you a little background of where the market was till about 18 months back, not even 18, till about a year back, a little over a year back. The market was really an unorganized, unstructured market where you had operators or developers who were not really delivering on basic fundamentals of a plotted development. Are the plots having clear title? Point number one. Are the plots having proper infrastructure? Point number two. Are the plot having which is sustainable, so that in 5 years from now, when you actually really do build your home, the infrastructure is actually physically there and you can identify your plot. One of the problems has been that people have gone back after 4 or 5 years and they've realized that they don't know which one is their plot. Number three was, are these sanctioned approved layouts? And number four is, what is the quality of environment you're creating in these plotted developments and where they're located? Now, I think with the organized players coming in, structured players coming in, there is a clear trend for doing much better quality of development, and where the brand will stand for all of these fundamental parameters which should be met. Of course, there are differentiators that people can do, like what we have done. We have completely created a theme-based project, for example, and that creates a lifestyle, and that gives the opportunity to the customer to understand what is the kind of profile of people who will buy. The second piece is the demand's really gone up, and really why the demand has gone up. I think one of the biggest trigger has been a pandemic. Individual homes, independent homes is something which became a flavor of the day. Now there's a flexibility you have with a plotted development or a villa, especially in plotted development, because you can phase out your investment. It's also an investment, and you can take your time to develop it as you go along. And a lot of end users are buying today because the end users have realized that they don't necessarily all the time have to be in the city center. They can be a little away from the city center and come 3 days to work at office. And that's been a growing trend as well. We realize that this is something that people are really, really keenly looking at. And with that confidence and research that we did at that point in time, we launched our first project last year. At the time of launch itself, on the first day, we sold out 70%. At launch, we sold out more than 80% of our inventory, which was fantastic news for us, because that gave us the confidence that there is a demand, there is a need for the customer, and there is a need for an organized player on why they want to buy from an organized player. In the South especially, there is a lot of demand because people see land as clearly an investment and an asset which they want to own for life. It's like having gold, in a manner of speaking. One is it gives you appreciation. God doesn't make too much land, right? There is a limitation on how much land is made in the world. So clearly there is a supply side constraint, and that is also increasingly there because there aren't enough players. And of course, there is a process. It takes time from the time you acquire the project, or in fact identify the project, then go through because for a branded, strong player, structured player, they will not do anything which is not clear title, right? That whole process, and so many deals fall through at the title stage itself. I mean, we look at 20 transactions and possibly land up doing 2 or 1. And then, of course, there is a huge demand. So what we are seeing is there is increased propensity for absorption, and there's a supply side restriction, which is where everybody is coming in and saying that, we want to fill in that gap. So that's where we are, and hence Purva land.
Which are the main cities or markets in southern India that you're seeing growth? I mean, especially, are these tier 1 cities or tier 2 cities, and whether we're seeing these demand coming in for locations which are basically just in the suburbs or peripheries of these cities?
Plotted development requirement is in both metro, tier 1 and tier 2 cities. That's how we are seeing it. For example, we are launching over 4 million square foot in next 12 months in Bangalore, Chennai, Coimbatore. We are keenly looking at other markets like Pune, Hyderabad, etc. So for us, the way we see it is that there is an opportunity because the demand is everywhere. In terms of location, people don't mind traveling a bit for plotted developments because there are various ways people are looking at using it and also investing. One is, a lot of people are looking at it as weekend homes. A lot of people are looking at it as a remote home wherein you can kind of go to office three times a week or 4 times a week, and the rest of the time you have got your own space, and you have the flexibility to scale up your house. You don't have to build a 4-bedroom on day one. You can slowly, gradually make your investment and scale up. So we are seeing a clear trend in terms of end user and investment demand on the plotted development in peripheral areas, metro, tier 1 and tier 2 cities. And that's where our focus is.
What kind of buyers are you really seeing? Are these investors or end users, or a mix of both?
It's a mix. So from people from services, which is jobs, medium scale enterprises, professionals, the whole range, small enterprises, retailers, they're all kinds of people who are looking at buying from on the Purva land piece. So, we are seeing across the spectrum.
Are they looking at just buying serviced open plots, or do they, are they also approaching you, for example, constructing their homes, or are you offering any kind of services where you're helping them design and then construct?
What we are creating is a theme, an idea for the project. The quality of infrastructure is such that it will continue to remain for a very long period of time. And we are creating, the whole services are planned today, which are delivered to your plot, which means, the plumbing is there, the drainage is there, the power supply is there, your plot is clearly identified, the common infrastructure is in place, the clubhouse is in place, etc., etc. And you have got a nice theme along which you're going to do the development. Once people know that this is the theme, possibly we are expecting people to design along those ideas, because you don't want to take away that flexibility from the buyer to decide how their home looks, because everybody has their own aspirations and dreams. And we believe that we are here to cater to that dream which people have of building their own home. And there's a process and they enjoy it.
What kind of plot sizes do most of these consumers prefer? And at what kind of price range, are they most comfortable with?
So we're seeing demand right from 1,200 to 3,000, 4,000 square foot. Of course, a larger piece of demand is somewhere between 1,200 and 1,800 square foot. But there is a demand for larger plots also, because there are a whole lot of people who want to build slightly larger homes and weekend homes and have that flexibility of size.
Unlike an apartment where it's easy to get a housing loan because banks, typically fund constructed properties, what happens in the case of plotted developments?
In plotted also, you can get funding from the banks, and of course, you get funding for construction also. So in that sense, the financial closure for the ownership of the land, of course, it has to be due diligence and sanction has to be there. It's all available in the market.
Most of the projects, you mentioned that you're launching some more projects in cities like, for example, Coimbatore and Chennai in the future. Are you targeting those who are interested in the affordable, mid or luxury segments?
So in Coimbatore, it's slightly upper middle income or more larger and much better locations, like a kind of in the city project. In Chennai, the range is similar to what we discussed, between 1,200 to 2,400 square foot plots. That's slightly in the suburbs. In Bangalore also, these are in suburbs. There is one premium project which we are looking at, which will have larger homes, larger plots, and therefore, it will be positioned accordingly.
What are the problems that typically a developer like yourselves or any other developer would face when planning for a plotted development project and actually implement it and then trying to sell it?
So, as I mentioned in the beginning, for a developer to identify, to take it till sanction is the first leg, and which is the critical leg. Execution and delivery is not that bigger challenge for most of the larger, well-organized, structured players. The second is, of course, we need to make sure that we have read the market right. We have positioned the product correctly. We have designed the product correctly to be able to offer some USP to the customer, which they are looking for. So identify the need and accordingly cater to that need. It's not vanilla cookie cutter production that you're trying to do here.
And finally, any advice that you have for other developers or for buyers that are interested in plotted corridors?
There is a big opportunity and there's a big reason for people to buy and develop. I think both demand and supply side is strong. It will continue to see momentum. But having said that, the supply is limited. I must admit, and I must say that supply is limited. You will only get so much because land is not available freely and all the time. And infrastructure also has its own limitations as of today in various parts of the country. So there is a limitation in terms of, and hence you will possibly see a lot of appreciation in plotted developments. But having said that, I think the key advice would be do buy, and do develop.
So thank you very much, sir. I think those are wonderful insights that will definitely help our viewers. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Siddhart. Thank you so much.
Please like and share this video and do subscribe to MBTV.